Hey guys, I'm just gonna do a review of uh, Dr. Michael Greger's new book, How Not to Die. So, for those of you guys who don't know, Dr. Greger is a plant-based doctor, and he also has a YouTube channel. I'll put a link in the description box down below. Nutritionfacts.org. I highly recommend it. His foundation is completely nonprofit, so he's not for profit, and he goes through all of the thousands and thousands of research papers so that you don't have to, and you get unbiased opinions and reviews of the research. And so he definitely a person that I support because he gives you very real world advice, things that you can do and to improve your health. And this is information that quite literally is life saving. And it helps dispel a lot of the myths out there. So the takeaway from this book is pretty much, eat more cruciferous vegetables, eat more berries, eat more beans, eat more, fruits, eat more whole grains, nuts, seeds, exercise, okay, and take a vitamin B12 supplement. Even meat eaters need to take vitamin B12 supplements because they can get vitamin B12 deficiency as well. And also take a vitamin D supplement if you live farther north or south of the equator. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it. But this whole book goes into all the research as to what to eat and why. Okay, and there's a lot of myths that he dispel in this book. Like for instance, people think that like high sugar intake causes diabetes or insulin resistance, which has been proven over and over again that is not true. It's fat that causes it. So let me just read a little like paragraphs just to demonstrate to you guys like how it actually works, how it works in your body, and why like sugar doesn't cause diabetes. It's fat, right? It says here, fat in your bloodstream, either from your own fat stores or from your diet, can build up inside your muscle cells, where it can create toxic breakdown products and free radicals that block the insulin signaling process. So no matter how much insulin you produce, your fat compromised muscle cells cannot effectively use it. So it really is the case. Like fat impairs your insulin production and receptivity of it. So high blood sugar levels is a result of high fat intake, not the other way around, or not that sugar is the primary cause. It is fat, and it really is like the case of like the fat you eat is the fat you wear. It says it somewhere here. Oh, it says right here. The fat you eat is the fat you wear, which is why it's contrary to what people believe, but there's just so much evidence, and people, that's why there's also such a high correlation between childhood obesity and adult obesity, because typically like people think like, oh, you have unlimited fat cells, which is not true. Like the more fat you eat, after a certain point in your life, you don't produce like unlimited amounts of fat cells after a certain point, like typically after your puberty age and a couple of years after that, shortly after that, the amount of fat cells you have is pretty much going to be constant throughout your life, unless you do like liposuction or something. Even then, they'll your body's super smart and will replenish those. So like the fat cells you grow and that divide as you grow up through your kid and your teenage years, you're going to carry that amount through to your adulthood. And so that's why it's such a high correlation between childhood obesity and adult obesity. And therefore, when you eat so much more fat when you're older and your fat cells, only get bigger, you don't really get that much more fat cells. You get what is called a spillover effect. And So the blood or your fat drips into your blood and then causes all these issues. Okay, so this is like one example that he goes into as to how you can reduce that and potentially just cure your diabetes. There's plenty of doctors. Let's see. What was it? Like Dr. McDougall, like I highly recommend him. Starch Solution, Dr. Dean Ornish, he's clinically proven that a vegan diet can do that. Okay, there's no doubt. There's no doubt. So I highly recommend this book. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out, and you get free information online on YouTube. So go check out nutritionfacts.org. Support Dr. Michael Greger. He's awesome. There's also other plant-based doctors like Dr. Dean Ornish, Dr. Neil Bernard. Let's see. I have these are my personal books. This is the 80-10-10 diet by Dr. Douglas Graham. I mean, this one's okay, but I would recommend the Starch Solution by Dr. McDougall. Typically, for vegan diets, whole food plant-based diets, it comes down to this ratio: about 80% carbohydrate, 80% or 10% protein, 10% fat. This is typically true for whole plant-based foods because that's what they're comprised of. That's the macros. Another one, if you want to be more research-based, this is the China study. Highly recommend it. So this is based off of, if you want to watch Fork Over Knives, same authors are in there. So yeah, hopefully this gives you, a little boost and a little bit of more information to go research and go upon. So that's it, guys. Go vegan.